Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We read this hadith yesterday that that a delegation came to Iran. A delegation came to see Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and these people were mostly from the tribe of Mudar. فَجَاءَ قَوْمٌ أُرَاتٌ. Urat here means that they were with very little clothes. So they were very poor people. Right? And they say, when Nabi Sallallahu saw them, you could see signs of sympathy on his face. فَتَمَعَّرَ وَجْهُ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. And then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam instructed the Sahaba Ikram. In fact, he told us, Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, that call out the Adhan, call out the Aqama, so we can gather all the Sahaba Ikram. And once all the Sahaba Ikram were gathered, then he appealed to them. He appealed to them that, look, we got some very poor people here. Let us all bring what we can to assist them. So I was telling you yesterday, from this also, you learn about, we speak about the different departments of Islam. One is also welfare, seeing to the needs of the less fortunate, seeing to the poor, etc. From that we learn this. And then Sahaba Ikram each one brought what they came. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam became pleased and he became happy. And then the last part of the hadith, it is what is relevant to our lesson. And then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that whoever initiates a good in Islam, then he will get the reward of that. Let's just look here. Qawmun uratun. I thought it means they had very little to cover themselves. Maybe it could mean like less clothes, or it could mean inferior clothes, or it could mean well-worn clothes. They had insufficient clothes to cover the entire body. Then mujtabin nimari, ijtaba yajtabu, and obviously the noon of the Jama is dropped off when it becomes a Mudhaza. Mujtabina, right? So ijtaba means to wrap a cloth around you. And Mujtabin Nimar is Jama of Namir. Yeah, Ulama mentioned Nimar means that cloth which have white lines, and it's actually made out of wool and the hair of goats. It was a very rough, kuru type of cloth. As these people are mostly from Banu Mudar, were kafir and accept Islam. Remember, we done this also from the Qabila of Abu Qais. And they obviously were, as I said, they had their swords hanging from their necks, which showed you they were a warrior-like people. So when Nabi Sallallahu saw them with the simple clothes, his heart went out to them. That is supposed to be the condition of a Muslim. They say, فَتَمَعَّرَ وَجْهُ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. Tama'ara means his face changed. As you could see, he was gripped with sympathy when he saw this, right? Then the next part of the hadith there, which says here, if you look here, it says here, تصدق رجل من ديناره من درهمه. This is a fair mazi. It means it's a past tense, right? But here in the hash, it means it comes in the meaning of amr. لِيَتَصَدَّقْ. Everyone, whatever wealth you have, like how, when you got different categories of zakat, etc. So whatever, if you got goats, you got sheep, you got cattle, you got gold, you got silver, you got the goods of trade, then you have to give zakat from that. So same thing. لِيَتَصَدَّقْ. I thought it means لِيَتَصَدَّقْ. That everyone should give. If you got gold, you give from his dinars, or if you got from أو من درهمه أو من ثوبه أو من صائه أو من صاء بره, or from the wheat, whatever you got, everyone should give. So sometimes Fele Mazi is a khabar, it is giving information of what happened in the past. But sometimes fi'l mazi comes in the middle of insha, means like an instruction also, right? Or we could say here that the amra is mahzuf liyatasaddaq. Rajulun liyatasaddaq rajulun. This rajulun is nakira. Now you know nakira and nakira تحت النفي تفيد العموم. Like you say, ma ja'a ahadun, nobody came. That means ma is nafi and rajulun is nakira. So it negates the entire genes. So it means every person should give from what he got. That's what he's saying, right? يتصدق كل واحد من درهمه من ديناره etc. I know I often mention this to you. I tell you that many times we think and we believe that charity is only the domain of the rich people. Only the rich people must give to the masjid, or only is responsible of the rich people to run the madaris or to run the masjids or to look after students or to help the poor people. But see here, if we take that meaning, لِيَتَصَدَّقْ رَجُلٌ, that every person, because I told you it's nakira, and nakira means umum, that every single person, and then the Nabi also mentioned that if you're a person of gold, like you got gold, you got money, you must give gold, you got silver, you must give silver, you got wheat, barley. So every person, according to his capacity, must give. So if you got 1,000 rand, you must give 100 rand. If you got 1,000,000 rand, you give 10,000 rand. If you got spending for a week, you get how much shall spend and shall get a week these days? 20 rand, 30 rand. If you got 30 rand, 20 rand, you must give 2 rand, 3 rand, 4 rand. So this hadith is quite clear that shows that each person in his own capacity, according to what he have and according to him, what means he has, he must give charity. Does not mean that charity and running the Islamic welfare projects, etc., is only for the rich people. See there, we have to صدق, right? I think it comes in that meaning. رجل من ديناره من درهمه من ثوبه من صاع بره من صاع تمره حتى ولو بشق تمرة. So the person only got a few dates. A person who got a few dates, even he must give. So there's no exclusion that only the rich must give. The person even got a few dates. So even if you got few rands, you must still give from the few rands. Something to the masjid, something to the madrasa, something to the people of Palestine, something to the people of Gaza, etc., etc. This hadith is quite clear and it's quite emphatic. The charity is for every single person. It is not only for a particular class of people. Whatever classes of wealth was existent in the time of the Nabi mentioned those classes of wealth. That if there was another class of wealth, then Nabi also mentioned, and Nabi also mentioned the person who has very little wealth, and obviously how the one who has a piece of a date, right? So this is something that you need to speak about. Also, people think the charity is only for the rich people. Then in the next part of the hadith, suratin means like a bag or something. You know, in previous times they would keep the gold, silver in a leather bag, and there's a lot of reference in the hadith to this here. So this is interesting here. This part of the hadith, this part here, فَجَاءَ رَجُلٌ مِنَ الْأَنصَارِ بِسُرَةٍ كَادَتْ كَفُّهُ تَعْجِزُ عَنْهَا. One person from the Ansar came with a bag of money. So كَادَتْ كَفُّهُ, this is the ism of كَادَتْ كَفُّهُ تَعْجِزُ عَنْهَا. It was closed at his hands, was unable to do what? Unable to carry it. Was so heavy that he couldn't even carry this thing, right? This is blah bal ajazat. It was so heavy. So how the Sahaba Ikram opened up their hearts, how they responded to the call of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So as I was telling you before, they say ثُمَّ تَتَابَعَ النَّاسِ, people then followed up. One came and the next one came. So yeah, the next part of the hadith, he says, Man sanna fil Islam sunnatan hasana. That person who establishes in Islam sunnatan hasana, a good precedent. فَلَهُ أَجْرُهَا وَأَجْرُ مَنْ عَمِلَ بِهَا. Then for him will be his reward and all those who practice after it. So if you look at the hadith nicely, first, see there, this person came with a whole bag of money. And after he came with a bag of money, ثُمَّ تَتَابَعَ النَّاسُ, people started following. So this person set a good precedent. He said a good precedent, and people began following that precedent. And then Nabi mentioned that you can see This person started a good precedent. He started giving charity in the path of Allah Ta'ala, and people followed up. Because he started a good precedent, whoever follows him, they will get the reward. So there's two, three things I would like to, okay, before we look at the hadith, how many, he's like a heap. So there was two heaps of clothes, money, etc. So here, one was a heap of the food stuff and one was the heap of the clothes. So this under this discussion, ulama speak about, normally we speak about concealing your charity. There's a hadith that speak about being so quiet and so discreet with your charity that your left hand does not know what your right hand spins, etc. So that is obviously, when you do it like that, means you are doing it with absolute sincerity, solely for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nobody must know it. Allah sadaqatun, right? Tukhfi in Allah. That only Allah Ta'ala knows about it. But now, ulama mentioned that is the default ruling. That is the default ruling. That generally you should be discreet about your charity. You shouldn't be showing off lest your intention is contaminated. Do it. Sometimes ulama also mentioned that you must have some charity that nobody knows about it. Nobody, not even your own family, not even. So that's a sign that this is purely for the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. So sometimes maybe your own family even know about it, your wife know about it, your children know about it, your sibling knows about it. So there is still the fear that maybe this has been done to show them and to impress them. But when you have such a sadaqah that nobody knows, not even your own closest people, then that is a sign of absolute khulus. Are you with me? So that is a separate subject. I'm telling you to be discreet about your charity. Why? Because it is greater khulus when it's discreet. Right? Are you with me? So put that one side. But sometimes there are extenuating circumstances where you need to be open about it. Like, people are not giving. You are an influential person in the community. You are maybe a alim or you're a community leader or people look up to you. So now they're not giving, but you start giving, everybody will look at you and they will give. You understand what I'm saying? So understand the difference. One is where the default ruling is to be discreet about your charity. But sometimes there are extenuating circumstances where if you as a community leader, you set a precedent, you buy in a particular project, people they will take you as a leader, they will be impressed, and then they will follow you. You understand what I'm saying? So that is that is the exception to the rule. Then obviously the relevance is whoever starts something good, so you as an alim of deen, you as a community leader, you as a teacher, you as a parent, whatever, when you initiate something good and the people follow you, inshallah, you will get the reward of that, similar to الدال على الخير كفاعله الدال على الشر كفاعله, right? Okay, read the next hadith. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وعن ابن مسعود قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا تقتل نفس ظلما إلا كان على ابن آدم الأول كفل من دمها لأنه أول من سن القتل. متفق عليه. سنذكر حديث معاوية ولا يزال طائفة من أمتي في باب ثوابها الرحمة إن شاء الله تعالى. Okay, remember as Adam alayhi salam had two sons, one was Habil and one was uh, yeah, one was Habil and Kabil, right? So here he's saying the hadith that, okay, let me translate the hadith first. The right now, authority of Ibn Masud, he said, Rasul said that no soul is killed oppressively. Why do they say oppressively here? Because sometimes you kill a person not oppressively. You kill a person because it is permissible in Islam to kill him, right? Like, for example, in jihad, you kill a person, or in a Muslim country, in Qisas, you kill a person, you can't kill a person. Like here in a non-Muslim country, If somebody kills somebody, you can't go and kill him and say, now I'm executing the qisas. Or like the hadith, man baddala deenahu faqtulu, that person who changes his deen, you kill him. But it's what ash-shaykh wa ash-shaykhatu idha zanaya farjumuhuma nakala min Allah, right? So that's what it means. Oppressive means without the right. Once you kill a person in defense, right? So لا تقتل نفس ظلما, that no soul is killed oppressively إلا أنا ابن آدم الأول كفل من دمها, except upon the first son of Adam alayhi salam. Kiflun is a burden from his blood, or a share from his blood. I told you, easy to remember, it was Habil and Qabil, right? So, in Arabic, qatala means to kill. Qatala, and Qabil is with the qaf. So remember, Qabil killed Habil. Qabil, qatala, qatala, Qabilu, Habila. Just how easy way to remember it. So Qabil was the killer. And okay, that's a different separate story about, the children were born in pairs, in twins, and then each one would marry the other. He wanted a wife that was not designated for him, then he killed his brother. So because he's the first one who committed the crime of murder in this ummah, he's the one who, and as per the من سن سنة حسنة فله أجرها ومن سن سنة سيئة فله أجرها, etc. So because he's the first one, so he will get a share of all the murder that take place in the world, right? لأنه أوله من سن القتل, he's the first one who committed this heinous crime of killing. There's a muttafaq على riwayat. So this keeps in. So obviously the whole idea of this hadith is that you must be instrumental in doing good. Do not take people towards bad. Do not invite people towards bad. Do not point them towards bad. Rather, invite them towards good. Be instrumental in taking them towards good, right? Then the next one, سنذكر hadith. We will also mention the hadith of Muawiyah, which is لا يزال طائفة من أمتي, that a group from Ummah will continue, and the ظاهرين الحق. That's the hadith في باب ثواب الأمة. That is in the chapter of Thawab Ummah, inshallah. So that part of the hadith is not relevant. So we will look at that at this point in time. Okay, look at, alhamdulillah, we finished the first fasal. Look at the second fasal. Read there.
الفصل الثاني عن كثير بن قيس قال جالسا مع أبي الدرداء رضي الله عنه في مسجد فجاء رجل فقال يا إني جئت من مدينة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بحديث بلغني أنك تحدثه عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما جئت لحاجتي. قال فإني سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول.
Okay, beautiful hadith. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. An Kathir ibn Qais, narrated on the authority of Kathir ibn Qais. He says, كنت جالسا مع أبي الدرداء. Once I was sitting with Abu Darda, right? في مسجد دمشق, in the masjid in Damascus. فجاءه رجل, a person came to him. فقال يا أبا الدرداء, أو أبا الدرداء, إني جئتك من مدينة الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. I've come to you specially all the way from Madinatul Rasul, subhanallah, the city of Rasulullah لحديث, for a hadith. بلغني أنك تحدثه, it has reached me that you narrate this with a authentic, a short chain. So I've come to you عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, from Rasulullah. So ما جئت لحاجة, I never come for any other thing. I only came to hear this hadith from you. قال فإني سمعت رسول, he says, Abu Darda replies to him, إني سمعت رسول الله يقول, Nabi said, من سلك طريقا, whoever walks a path, يطلب فيه علما, that he seeks in it knowledge, سلك الله به طريقا من طرق الجنة, Allah Ta'ala will make for him easy the path, a path from the path of Jannah. وإن الملائكة لتضع أجنحتها, and verily the malaika, they place their wings رضا, out of happiness, لطالب العلم, for the student of knowledge. وإن العالم, verily the person of knowledge, لا يستغفر له من في السماوات ومن في الأرض, whoever is in the skies and the earth, they make istighfar for him. وَالْحِيطَانُ فِي جَوْفِ الْمَاءِ, and the fish in the depths of the ocean. وَإِنَّ فَضْلَ الْعَالِمِ عَلَى الْعَابِدِ, and there is the virtue of a scholar over a worshipper. كفضل القمر ليلة البدر is like the virtue of the moon on the 14th night على سائر الكواكب upon all the stars. وإن العلماء ورثة الأنبياء, and really the ulama, they are the heirs of the أنبياء. وإن الأنبياء لم يورثوا دينار ولا درهم, and the أنبياء, they do not leave as a legacy gold and silver coins, right? Dirhams. وإنما ورثوا العلم, they leave knowledge. فمن أخذه, whoever is taken onto this legacy, أخذ بحظ وافر, he is taken onto a great deal of good. He's got a full share. رواه أحمد والترمذي وابن ماجه وأبو داود وابن ماجه والترمذي وسمى الترمذي قيس بن كثير. Right, so this riwayat was narrated in several different hadith books. If you look at this riwayat, it is a beautiful, beautiful hadith. It is loaded, it is pregnant, it is loaded, it is compressed with meaning. So here he's saying that Abu Darda was sitting in a masjid in Damascus. It's mentioned here that the masjid in Damascus, it was like a markaz, it was a gathering place for the Sahaba Ikram. And people would pass here. You know, you often think why did people have to travel from Medina, the place where Nabi Sallallahu was, to Damascus, to Syria to gain knowledge, when Medina was the place, the home of Nabi Sallallahu, is where Islam was born? Did that thought ever cross your mind? How did the knowledge go from Medina to those places? Anybody knows? Anybody got any idea why?
Was that it was Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam?
Correct. So what had happened is when Islam began spreading and Islam spread to Syria, to Sham, especially in the time of Umar, then he sent his senior Sahaba Ikram to the different places to guide the people. Remember, we done this hadith here also, that Nabi Umar said that although I want Ibn Masud by me, but I will prefer you over myself. I would like to have the senior Sahabi in my presence so I can benefit from him, from his knowledge. Because Ibn Masud spent a great deal of time in the presence of Nabi Sallallahu, to such an extent he was taught to be from the household of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So he had the deep knowledge of Shariat. So as Umar said, although I would like to have him by me, but now Islam is spreading, the Muslim world is growing. You people need him there. You need him there to guide you, etc., etc. Right? So this was now like, and obviously, like how from here it was geographically, it was an easy place to access Africa and all those places. So from here, the jihad into North Africa was launched. So it was like what you say, frontier town. You know, the town that separates the Muslim world from the non-Muslim world. From here, they would go to Africa. So from this you learn it's Sahaba Ikram, what type of difficulty, what type of effort they would make to acquire knowledge. So yeah, this Sahabi, he had undertaken this long, arduous journey from Medina, and obviously travel is not was not then like it is today. Like you just, even if a car, forget about the car, forget about the plane or whatever. But even with the car, like they used to travel by horseback, camelback, etc. So imagine how much difficulty he would go. Yes, mentioned it is approximately 800 kilometers from Medina to this place here. That is almost like we're going from here to Joburg. Yeah, some riwayat suggest that this Sahabi that traveled all this way, he did not even descend from his conveyance because he did not want to adulterate. He wanted to make the journey especially for the sake of deen. So he done nothing else besides that. Then the next verse here, it says here, بلغني أنك تحدث عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. It reached me that you are narrating a particular hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he already had in mind what hadith he wants to hear. So the question comes about, if he already knew the hadith, If he really heard the hadith, why did he still travel? You understand what I'm saying? If he, what hadith it was, we'll discuss that just now. But he said, I heard that you narrate a particular hadith. So that means he already knows about the hadith. Already knows about the hadith. That's what I'm saying. Because he came for a specific hadith. So despite knowing about the hadith, or he knows more or less what the hadith is, why did he travel so far? Why? You understand what I'm saying? So here, it's interesting explain here that maybe he heard the hadith briefly, but he want to hear it now in detail. Or maybe he heard it from somebody, heard it from this Sahabi, but he wanted to hear it directly from the Sahabi, you understand? That's why we said this thing about chain of narrators, it is exclusive to the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No other nation before had this. What we say, people doing, mashallah, jarh wa ta'dil, where you examine the narrators of each thing, you discuss whether each one met the next one, etc. That is why he says, al-isnadu min ad-dini, lawla al-isnadu laqala man sha'a ma sha'a. That to name your sources is part of deen. If it was not that you had to name your source where you heard this information from, then anybody could have said anything, I heard this Nabi Sallam said this, Nabi Sallam said that. But because we have this great legacy of that you have to sammu rijalakum, tell me who told you this here, right? So you have to name your source. So because you have to, this was what resulted in the preservation of this great legacy. That's why our religion is unadulterated. It remains because of this great, as I said, no other ummah has got this. Then there's also something else which you see that you're doing, mashallah, you're doing usul hadith, ulubul isnad. That if, you always look at the shorter chain of narrators, that is something that's sought in hadith. Why, if, for example, both of you are my students, just example, and I mention something, and he heard it from you and he heard it from me. Why must he say, I heard Rashid say, Aadiel say so, when he can say, I heard Aadiel say directly? The same thing I was discussing with you in detail. Why say I saw in Riyadh al-Salihin, when I saw in Mishkaat Shareef, when you can say it's in Bukhari Shareef, it's in Muslim Shareef, and this way you narrate a further source, a further reference away. It's called Ab'ada Najwata, you missing the point. So yeah, it may be the Sahabi, he heard the narration before, but he wanted to get the higher sanad, because I told you ulul isnad, a higher sanad, is also matlub in Shariat. It is something which is desirable in Shariat. So the interesting part here now is this here. This is very interesting. See, he came out in search of knowledge, right? And then Abu Darda gave him a hadith with regards to the virtue of knowledge. So is this the hadith that he came all the way for? If it was this hadith he came, then it is a great coincidence that after having made so much effort going to study a hadith, he has a hadith extolling the virtue of knowledge. Or it could be, no, this is not the hadith you want to do here. It was another hadith you want to hear. But Abu Darda said that since you've come so far and you've made so much effort like to acquire knowledge, let me tell you, let me give you some basharat, let me give you some glad tidings. You understand that point? So if it was that he came all the way for this hadith, then it's a great coincidence that he, after having made so much effort for the sake of knowledge, he gets the hadith that gives him the glad tidings for traveling for knowledge. As I said, or it could be that this was not the hadith, but just Abu Darda, since you made so much effort, let me give you a hadith that speaks about the right. So as I said, if it was that he came with the hadith in it, وَأَعْجَبْ أَغْرَبَ, right? So Nabi Sallallahu said, يَطْلُبُ فِيهَا إِلْمًا. So now we're looking at the actual hadith. So he says, سمعت رسول يقول من سلك طريقا يطلب فيه علما. That person who plods a path seeking knowledge, and it goes out without saying لوجه الله, for the sake of Allah Ta'ala, لا لأهل الجنة. من كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه ومن كانت هجرة الدنيا ليصيبها أو أعرض من الدنيا فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. So you come solely for the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. Then what's the first virtue mentioned here? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make his road early, easy to Jannah. Now, this is obviously this hadith is relevant with the Bab. The chapter is with regards to um, seeking knowledge. So, knowledge is what will take you to Jannah. That is the road to Jannah, right? Then, لَتَضَعُهُ, the angels, they put out their wings. They spread out their wings. You know, sometimes, when you have an esteemed guest coming, an honorable guest, and you say, we're going to roll out the red carpet for you. We're going to roll out the red carpet. Or maybe you might have seen sometimes, when they have a high profile personality coming, you mustn't walk on the ground. They put a carpet out. In India, normally, in India, Pakistan, when they have a high profile guest, then the way they show their honor is they put a garland of flower on the person, like a garland of flower. Or sometimes they sprinkle, the petals of leaves in front of the honor. So here, what we're saying is that, like how you show that honor, some ulama mentioned that it doesn't mean that they will physically put their wings there. It just means that it's a sign of, metaphorical. Although someone say, no, physically they put their wings. Physically, they will put their wings there. So the fact that we can't see something doesn't mean that it's non-existent. As I told you, it exists in another world. So that we say majazan. Then the next part of the hadith, يَسْتَغْفِرُ لَهُ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Whoever exists in the heavens and the earth, they make dua for this. So here he says, it refers to the angels, they are in the heavens. It's referred to the arwah of the believers. All of them, they make dua of maghfirat for the ulama, for the students, those people who are involved in knowledge. Those people are learning knowledge. Those people are teaching knowledge. Those people are involved in the dissemination of authentic knowledge. And here it says, even so, why would all of the creation of Allah Ta'ala, whether it is the birds in the sky, the fish in the ocean, or the insects on the earth, etc. So from this, we also learn, besides this, we learn that all of the creation of Allah Ta'ala, they've got a sense of shu'ur. They may not have complete intelligence like a human being. From the creation of Allah Ta'ala, insan has the most complete intelligence. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. But all the other creation, they also have a limited perception. That's why Allah Ta'ala states in the Quran also, وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ إِلَّا يُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِهِ. There's nothing, none of the creation, except that they engage in the tasbih of Allah Ta'ala. So according to their own, shu'ur, according to the level of like how different animals have different levels of intelligence. You find some animals, they have higher intelligence, they can accomplish some things, while other animals can't accomplish it. Certain things certain animals can do, certain things certain animals can't do. So all of the creations of Allah Ta'ala have different levels of intelligence, they have different levels of shu'ur. But all of them definitely have shu'ur, because I told you, وَإِن مِّن شَيْءٍ إِلَّا يُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِهِ. Then what's the other one I told you? Yeah, they make dua, right? So in their own way, however, Allah Ta'ala, they will make dua. So why would they make dua for the ulama? Why would they make dua for the student of deen? Yeah, it's mentioned that they also know about the final, when the final horn is blown, everything will be destroyed. The mountains will fly like flakes of cotton. You know that. فَإِذَا نُفِخَ فِي السُّورِ فَلَا أَنْسَابَ بَيْنَهُمْ. So yes, that they probably have knowledge about the end time, that when, Qiyamah come, everything will be destroyed. And there's a hadith that says that as long as the person on the dunya that says Allah, Allah, the Qiyamah will not come. So their existence is contingent upon Islam. Their existence is dependent upon the continuation of Islam. Their existence will continue as long as Islam continue. Their existence will continue as long as the ulama that are teaching, etc. But the day Islam perishes, the day as per the hadith, there's no one to say Allah, 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 then that is when Qiyamah will be established. So Allah Ta'ala has given them that much of shu'ur, that much of intelligence, that much of perception, that they realize that our existence is also dependent. Our existence is also contingent upon the legacy of teaching, learning, teaching, dissemination of. Hence, they make dua for the ulama because they owe their existence, they lend their existence to the student of deen and to the ulama as well. Okay, I see time is up. We need to do some of the tafsir. Let's stop there, inshallah. There's still another few things we need to cover in this what you call it here, in this hadith. We'll do that tomorrow, inshallah. Hopefully. What ayat number are we doing? Huh? Wow. So we were discussing this about this ayat, خُذُوا زِينَتَكُمْ كُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا. And we told you, the last thing we told you is that we prove from this that you must look presentable. خُذُوا زِينَتَكُمْ عِنْدَ كُلِّ مَسْجِدٍ, at every place of salah. And then we also discussed that we as human beings, our body is an amanat. We must look after it. We do not have the right to deprive it of food. That's one. Kulu washrabu. Right. One explanation is you have to provide for your body. You have to. You cannot go under a hunger strike, etc. Wala tusrifu. We gave you two explanations. Wala tusrifu could mean this here that do not go overboard in your eating and drinking and wasting. Or also one explanation of wala tusrifu was this here also, that do not go overboard in depriving yourself of what is necessary. And then also, kulu ashrabu wala tusrifu, we told you that from this hadith also, it means that everything, the default ruling is permissibility. Al-aslu fil ashya'i al-hillatu, the original default ruling, until there's a proof to say it is haram. So Sayyidina Farooq, that is as Umar, he said, avoid eating and drinking too much because it spoils the body. So excessive eating and drinking, it is harmful for the body. It generates diseases and slackens activity. It makes you lazy. That is why when you go to a spiritual retreat to the Khanka, from the many things, when they spiritually rejuvenate you, they tell you, قلة اختلاط مع الرجال, قلة منام, قلة طعام. Eat enough to live, not live to eat. Instead, take to eating in moderation and drinking, for it is good for the health of the body and is far removed from extravagance in it. He also said, Allah Ta'ala does not like an obese alim. Allah Ta'ala does, as Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Allah Ta'ala does not like a person of knowledge is obese. And a scholar of religion has become fat and heavy as a result of eating excessively by choice. Yes, if you got a problem, sometimes you have a problem, that's a different story. But by choice to be like that, Allah Ta'ala doesn't like, as Umar said that. Then he further said, a person does not get destroyed until he starts preferring his personal desires over his faith. So righteous elders of the early period have said that to keep busy with business of eating and drinking all the time, or to prefer over matters of importance, giving the impression that as one has no other worthy purpose left in the life but eating and drinking is included under israf, extravagance. Also well known is a saying that one should eat to live, not to live to eat. So he's saying here, that every minute your concern is you must have this food, you must have this food, you must eat this food, I must get this food, as though your main priority in life is to taste this food and to taste that food and to eat this food. That is a wrong impression. That is not the reason why we have been sent to the dunya. In the hadith, the Holy Prophet has an attitude of compulsory satiating every desire as and when it emerges as included under israf. So every time you feel for something, now you feel for a Coke, you must have a Coke. Now you feel for chips, you must have chips. Now you feel for prawns, you must have prawns. Now you feel for this. The Nabi has mentioned this to be israf. That every single desire you have for food, you must fulfill it. That the Nabi has said, is a clear hadith that the right authority of Sayyidina Anas in Ibn Majah. And also in Bayksa it comes that once the Prophet saw Sayyidina Aisha eating twice, subhanAllah. He saw eating twice in a day. He said, Ya Aisha, would you like that eating becomes your only pastime? SubhanAllah, she only 2 times a day. And the reason was that much. Do you want to spend so much time eating? Imagine how many times we eat breakfast, then you have break, then you have lunch, then tea, then supper, then tea after that. Imagine if the Prophet had to see us how many meals a day. Yeah, he was surprised at 2 meals a day. And he said, do you want to make the main objective of your life eating? And this command for moderation in eating and drinking mentioned in this verse is not restricted to eating and drinking alone. The truth of the matter is that the cause of moderation is very desirable in wearing what one wears and in living where one lives in almost everything. So here, Mufti Saab is saying that this command of being moderate, kulu washrabu wala tusrifu, it doesn't only refer to eating and drinking, refer to everything. You shouldn't also be excessive in your clothes. You shouldn't be excessive in your living. And I told you a good standard is that you use the urf. You look at the people around you. What do they wear? Must I wear something way more expensive than what they're wearing? Must I drive something way more expensive than what they're driving? Must my shoes be way more expensive? If it is in tune with the normal people, then it's a good guide to see that what you're doing is acceptable. You understood? But to be way above them, that would come in under israf. 8 rulings from one ayat. In short, the rulings so this is saying this ayat, Ya Bani Adam khudhu zinatakum. We got 8 rulings from this verse. We learned 8 rulings from this verse. One, first, eating and drinking is obligatory as needed. I told you, you cannot starve your body. And one is like you go on a hungry strike. Then I know now it's also common because when I was small, I remember I used to get this sickness called anorexia, where people they don't want to eat. They have a phobia for eating because they have a phobia about their weight, and they become very thin and they become over thin. So it's called anorexic. So you don't have a choice. You cannot deprive your body of food. Unless the unlawfulness of the second thing we learn, unless the unlawfulness of something stands proof is based on the evidence admitted by the Sharia, everything is halal. The second thing, al-aslu fil ashya'i al-ibahatu, that the default rule is everything is permissible. The use of things prohibited by Allah and His Messenger is israf. The use of things prohibited by Allah and His Messenger is israf and impermissible. When Allah Ta'ala has prohibited something, and the Prophet has prohibited, then despite that, for you to use it, that is termed as israf. Making haram, what Allah Ta'ala has made halal is also israf and a great sin. When Allah Ta'ala has made something halal, for you to consider it to be haram is also israf. I told you it was right. Eating so little that one becomes weak and is rendered unable to fulfill his obligation also israf. I told you, you need to eat so that you can survive, you can do your ibadat, etc. To keep thinking of eating and drinking all the time is also israf. And then on the other end of the spectrum, your whole life must revolve and pivot around this food and that food. What they say in English, they call it foodies. What a person whose whole life around everything must be food, food, food. It's not necessary that one must have what one wishes for at all time. So it's just, we learn from this also that sometimes you must curtail your desires. Every time you lust for something, you mustn't go buy it. Train yourself also that you're going to get everything that you want. This Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, أَفَرَأَيْتَ مِنِ اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ. Did you see that person who takes his desires as his God? Every time he desires something, he must have it, he must have it. So if your nafs is accustomed to getting everything which you desire, even though it's halal, so when the time comes when it was haram, it's not accustomed to be refused. How is it going to refuse? Understand what I'm saying? Everything is halal. You want it, you want it, you want it, you want it. So now when your nafs desires something which is haram, it's not accustomed to be refused. So how are you going to refuse? So sometimes you deprive yourself of something halal also. So the rules recount above, which emerge from this verse, have the religious benefits. All of these, what we discussed, if one looks at it medically, a better prescription for health and well-being will be difficult to find. So yeah, the best, you speak about promoting your health, etc. There's no better prescription. There's no better solution for your health than only to eat what is necessary. Not to, when you overeat fatty foods, sugary foods, that is when the problem comes about. The key is moderation in eating and drinking. This is your sanctuary from all diseases. So you want to protect yourself from disease, then the lesser you eat, the better. According to Tafsir Ruh Ma'ani al-Mazari, Khalifa Harun Rashid, a personal physician, was a Christian, interested in the time of Harun Rashid, a doctor. He said to Ali ibn Hussein ibn al-Waqidi, your book, the Quran, has nothing about medicine in it. Although there are only two fields of knowledge in our time, the knowledge of religion and the knowledge of bodies called medicine. Ali ibn Hussein said, Allah Ta'ala has put the whole science of medicine in half a verse of the Quran. So this Christian was saying, your Quran doesn't speak about medicine. Your Quran doesn't promote good health. So this scholar said, no, you are mistaken. We do have guidelines with regards to our health in the Quran. We have one verse, and this verse is of such a nature that if you practice upon this verse, your medical problems will be sorted out. He said, Kulu washrabu wa la tusrifu. Eat and drink and not be extravagant. Tafsir ibn Kathir reports the saying also with reference to some other righteous elders of the early times. Then the court physician asked, all right, is there something in the sayings of your prophet about medicine? Okay, yeah, you got some. Tell me about the hadith. Your sayings, what is it? What guidelines with regards to your diet, your health? And if you say the prophet has reduced all sides of medicine in a few sayings of his, when he said, the stomach is the nursery of diseases and abstinence from harmful things is the root of all medicine. He said, look here, Nabi Sam said that all diseases, it comes from your stomach. Like how they say in English, you are what you eat. You are what you eat. So all the diseases come from, that's why, you get this alternative medicine. If you look at modern medicine, what they try to do, they try to stop the symptoms of the illness. But if you look at what you say, alternative healthcare, Unanitive, they start with the stomach, cleaning out the stomach, adjusting your diet, and most of your problems are sorted out. So, as per Nabi Sallam said, the rule, the Nabi Sallam said the stomach is the nursery, it means is the starting point of diseases, and abstinence from harmful things is the root of all medicine, and give everybody what it can take as a matter of habit. So only eat that what your body can take. After hearing this, the Christian officer said, your book and your prophet have left no medicine for jali. In other words, if people practice upon this here, where you eat in moderation, you don't overeat, and you only you eat in moderation, you don't overstuff yourself with unhealthy things, then you won't need any medical care. Based on the narration from Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala in Shu'b al-Iman al-Bayhaqi, as reported, the Holy Prophet said, the stomach is the reservoir of the body. All arteries and nerves of the body get satiated from this reservoir. The stomach is in proper order, all the veins will return with healthy food from here. And if it's not in proper order, all the veins will spread out in the body as carriers of disease. How true, imagine, Nabi Sallallahu spoke this 1400 years ago, that your whole body is linked to your stomach, and you know that the food gets digested in your stomach, the nutrients get extracted in your stomach, and then via the blood, via the veins in your body, that nutrients is taken to each and every cell in your body. So if you put healthy things in the stomach, put good things, that will reach every single cell of your body. If you put unhealthy things in your body, that will reach every single cell of your body. Muhaddithin experts in the discipline of hadith have expressed that. Okay, there's just some. Okay, so that is with regards to explanation. Let's look at the verse. So we can alhamdulillah quite a few. Imagine one verse. Ya bani Adam khudhu zinatakum. وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا إِنَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. How much benefit, how much we learn. Allah Ta'ala reward the muhaddithin, Allah Ta'ala reward the imam mujtahideen, Allah Ta'ala reward the fuqaha. How much lessons they took out. Imagine we read this verse, things that our mind even go to, they extracted from there. Okay, read Bismillah.
الرحمن الرحيم. هذه الآية الكريمة رد على المشركين فيما كانوا يعتمدونه من الطواف بالبيت.
Right. So just I tell you, with the self extension of these mushrikeen, they had this false belief about making dua, tawaf naked. So هذه الآية الكريمة رد على المشركين. They rejected المشركين فيما كانوا what they يعتمدون, they would do from tawaf of the house naked. Right? Carry on.
قال كانوا يطوفون بالبيت عراة الرجال والنساء.
Yeah, like if the Abbas says they used to make tawaf of the bayt, كانوا يطوفون بالبيت عراة الرجال والنساء, the men and the women naked, right? Right, the men in the day and the women at night. Yeah, so they will sing this poem. اليوم يبدو بعضه أو كله, today some of it or all of it will be exposed. وما بدا منه فلا أحل. But that which you see, I don't know if it's halal for you. You can only see, but it's not halal for you, right? So Allah Ta'ala rejects this. He says, خُذُوا زِينَتَكُمْ. No, you must be dressed. Take your smart clothes. Take your decent clothes and go to the masjid.
كان رجال يطوفون بالبيت عراة أمرهم الله بزينة.
So also Ibn Abbas says, he's explaining the reason for the revelation of this verse. He says, كان رجال يطوفون بالبيت عراة. Men used to make tawaf naked. فأمره الله بالزينة. Allah Ta'ala commanded him, no, don't be naked. Take your beautiful clothes. Take your nice clothes, right? Yeah, and zinat is your clothes. Oh my, you are so at it is that which you cover your private parts, right? Right. And what is also so it is what you cover your butts, and also besides the other clothes, wamasi wa dhalika min shaydil barzi wal mata'i. You check what that means? What it means? So it means not only your clothes that you to cover your aurat, but also to, like how we say, your jubba, your amama. Like I told you, you are going to the court of the king, so you make yourself beautiful, presentable, right?
ولهذه الآية وما ورد في معناها من السنة يستحب التجمل عند الصلاة.
Subhanallah. So I told you, فأمروا أن يأخذوا زينتهم عند كل مسجد. So they've been commanded to take the extra clothes also, like I told you, like abaya, etc., like jubba, etc. So ولهذه الآية, because of this ayat, وما ورد في معنى, in other verses or from others that come, other texts that come, وما ورد في معنى, in a similar meaning from the Sunnah, we learn يستحب التجمل إن الصلاة. We learn that you must be beautiful for your salah. Don't think you're alone reading salah. A woman is reading alone in the house. She can read with dirty clothes or whatever, maybe spark, but it's dirty. ولا سيما يوم الجمعة ويوم العيد, especially the day of Jummah and the day of Eid. Okay, we'll stop there. Inshallah, time is up. Here. We shall continue tomorrow.